My name is Jennifer Rodriguez, and today I'm going to interview Fernando Mancha, and he's going to talk about his experience during the Chicano movement. So, starting off with the first question. How old did you experience the Chicano movement?
Well, I believe that was before my age. When I started here, I got here like in 1972.
1972.
Yeah, I got here in 1972, and the Chicano movement, I believe that it started like in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, I don't, did you do your what do you call it?
In the 1960s.
Okay, yeah, I think it started in the 60s. So when I was here, it already started. But when I got here in the United States, I came actually to Del Rio, Texas, which is just across the border.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from Ciudad Cuna.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was like, I must have been like either 9.5 years or 10 years. And back in the border, there was no such thing back then because I was only a kid myself.
Yeah.
So I had no clue of anything about it. I know nothing about it because I was only, like I say, I was only a kid in 9.5 years, 9 and 10. And I had back on those days, or in that year, like in the 70s, like 69 or 70, 1970, there wasn't much of that going in there. I didn't get to notice it really till I got to junior high.
Junior?
Yeah, when I got to junior high, that's when I noticed that Chicanos, those cholos.
Yeah.
You see those like church with the
In the
buttons,
barrios.
yeah, the barrio in the headbands, and you're wearing that hat,
Yeah.
And it was back then when I started having some problems. They were calling me like, "Ahí viene el mojado, vamos a darle corte," and back then when they said like, "Vamos a darle corte," it wasn't like one or two, it was like 5 or 6 that they used to,
That
beat the
group.
crap out of you, yeah. And it was never one of them. But I ran into one, and they would run away because they would see me, they would run away. But they would never face you alone. It was only like 3, 4, or 5 of them, but it was always like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me. I don't know why they had it, even though they weren't Mexicans, themselves, either through their first generation or second generation, either through their parents or grandparents. And for one reason or the other, they didn't like us, They always humiliated us, and what you call bullies around. And we were being bullied.
Yeah,
And it was hard for me.
Yeah, I started like bullying like since school.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah, and that was one of the hardest things for me actually when I started junior high. I was going through all that. As soon as I see those guys walking, the halls, I had to take, shortcut or somewhere, like go down the stairs. I would go like, "Here they come," and we start running, going to our classes, because we didn't want to confront them, because it was just only like me and some other guy. But when it was them, it was always like 5 or 6 guys, 5 or 6, and they would chase us in the hall. They started chasing us until, we got to our class, and they was, they would just keep going. But we had a lot of confrontations. There were times that we had to fight. But they were always more than us. Because me, I only hang around with like 1 or 2 guys. And they were only like, all the time, they were always 5, 6, 5, and 6. Not only that, but they always, like girls, behind them, supporting them. Yeah, go up there and kick their butts and all that, kick their ass and all that. We had to run away, But, there was times that I confronted like one of them, and, they wouldn't do anything.
Like they just
No
think
que
they're
hacía nada.
tough.
They would like back off. And I would tell them, like, "Come on, man. So that's just me and you.
Yeah.
I can still get." I remember one time that his name was Angel. One of them was, "Yeah, go ahead, Angel. Yeah, go ahead. Beat the crap out of him." And all they had to do, they would just start swinging. They just start swinging and kicking it. And what I did, I just went ahead and, back sideways and throw him against the wall and hit the door. actually the door. And oh, El Mojado, did you? You know, the girls, you know, they were there, you know, they were sure. And he would start doing them again when he start throwing punches and be like, what I just did, I would have back off and trip him, and he fell on the floor. You know, but I figured that if I hit him and start, you know, punching him or left him real bad, and I would never hear the end of it. You know, they were gonna get me worse. So I tried not to hit him really, you know, and that was for me. You know, that was really hard. You know, that was hard. That year after year in 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade, you know, all through junior high, you know, I had to put up with it. They were always chasing us, you know. You know, we had to run to our class, you know, because, you know, they were pointing. As soon as they pointed, you, I have a house, you know, we had to run, you know, because we didn't want to confront them. We didn't want to fight all the time. So I always thought that it was better for me, you know, just to ignore them or walk away from it.
Yeah.
You know.
It used to be tough back then. And
I didn't get to experience them like I said until the junior high.
Yeah. What do you think about the Chicano morale?
The Chicano morale, like morale.
It's like you know when, like in Oak Cliff or Jefferson, like there's big paintings like of Selena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the culture. I mean, for me, you know, like the way I think it was cool. You know, the way they dress. You know, with the hats, you know, and sunglasses, shades and stuff. They were cool, you know, but. You know, some of them they're just mean. You know, I can't speak for all of them. You know, but there were some of them that were mean. But I did like their culture, if you want to call it. You know, their culture, how they dress. You know, how they, you know, what do you call it? How they fix their lowriders and stuff like that. I thought it was cool.
Like some people used to say that they show their expressions by painting or something like that. So probably. Some they're good, some are bad.
Yeah. I mean, their art, you know, it was like, man, it was beautiful. You know, all the painting that they were doing in the walls and stuff like, you know, it was beautiful. I loved it. But you know, people who use or had that kind of talent, you know, instead of I would think like confronting their own race, you know, Mexicans, you know. I don't think it was good. I don't know why they were doing it or what, but people that were good in talent, I think that they had what you call it. They could put it to use and make, you know, a living out of it. You know, because there were some beautiful paintings that they would make, draw, you know, on walls or, you know, like under the bridges and stuff like that. You know, that was beautiful. It was beautiful. I like their talent, you know.
If you could describe the historical event in one word, what would it be?
Could you define that for me?
Like, what do you think about the channel? Like, in one word, what do you think about it in a word?
About Chicano?
Yeah.
Well, the Chicano to me is actually, you know, Mexican. You know, that's what he is. He's a Mexican, you know. Like I said, he's either from his first generation, you know, our mom and dad, or second generation, our grandparents, their grandparents, and they shouldn't be ashamed, you know, to call themselves, you know, either Hispanics or Mexicanos. You know, I'm thinking that they're using that word Chicano, trying to be or prove themselves that they're better than us, the Mexicans, because of probably of what their parents went through. You know, because they suffer a lot. You know, they suffer a lot, and so I figure that you know, some of Chicanos, you know, they didn't even, you know, speak Spanish at all. You know, they didn't want to speak Spanish at all. You know, they was like, you know what? You know, I'm looking at you, you're brown, and you look just as brown as I am. And they were still denied, you know, they were, you know, Mexicanos. So they just called, so they, you know, they would get upset. I'm not a Mexicano, I'm a Chicano. But I think, you know, that's because of what their parents went through. I think it got them motivated, you know, to try to better themselves, You know, and I think that's when they came up with that word, you know, being a
Yeah.
chicano, you know, which he was, I think it was mixed from a Mexican and
Yeah,
the
it was
American.
Mexican American.
I think they kind of mixed it, you know, but, you know, for me, I would just call him, you know, I would be proud to be called Mexican American, you know. I would have no problem at all.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why would people, you know, they would feel different, you know. But Mexican American sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, the definition of the Chicano movement is to improve connections for farm workers, voting and political rights, and for others for Mexican Americans.
Yeah, back then, those days, I think it was like I was saying, like in the 60s, when Cesar Chavez was out there helping them, doing it, you know, gathering all that, and helping them out. And he did big things. That's what they got the street name after him, you know, Cesar Chavez, you know, downtown. And he did a lot, you know, he did a lot for, I'm going to say that they were Mexicans, you know, for the Mexicans, because they were illegal working. They were illegal immigrants working, you know, and he did a lot for me. He was fighting for their rights, you know, to get paid equally, their equal rights as far as pay, because I don't think they were getting paid, you know, much at all. I think they were getting ripped. But that's what he went ahead and did for them, you know, to fight for their rights to get, you know, equal pay.
Equal pay.
Yeah, equal pay, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, you're good. Do you know about Dolores Huerta?
Dolores Huerta, no, not like Cesar Chavez. I've never heard of him until just now when you send me this text. Yeah.
Well, Dolores Huerta is an activist and labor leader, and she worked with Cesar Chavez
Oh, okay.
to form the National Farm Workers Association.
Association, huh?
Yeah. So, like, they work in a team to improve the civil rights.
That's good. Well, she did a good job helping them out.
And also, as Hector Garcia, he was a veteran of World War II. So, he was, like, the founder of the GI Form. So, like, they were, like, most of the leaders of the civil rights.
Yeah, I did some background according to that guy, Hector Garcia. I don't know if it was him or not, but that there was a Mexican American in the army, and that he was killed, and he was what you call it? He was like a hero. He was a hero, and they didn't want him to be buried there, you know, with the rest of them.
Yes.
So I think what's his name? The former president that got killed, Kennedy, John Kennedy. I think he went ahead and approved for him to be buried with the rest of the heroes, you know, in you know what you call it, in burial ground, wherever that might have been. You know, I think that, you know, that was good for him, you know, to do.
Yeah, he did. And the next question: what school do you went as a kid? Like when you got here?
I started, like I said, in Del Rio, and it was, I started first grade. I started first grade at the age of 9.5 years, you know, at the age of, and I believe that the reason for that is because they wanted me to teach me from the bottom, you know, like your ABC, to learn your ABC, like learn how to count and stuff like that. So I started like real late. I must be 9.5, you know, 9.5, maybe even 10 years. I can't remember that long, you know, but I'm going to say 9.5 to 10 years when I started first grade. And I did start it, you know, in first, you know, with my, you know, ABCs and learning how to count and then the math and stuff like that and all that. And which for me, I was kind of embarrassed having to because they would be making fun of me, you know, because the rest of them were what, at 6 years old or 7 in first grade, 7 years old maybe. And I was like 2.5 years older than them, but I did all, you know, my whole first grade, and I did my whole second grade. I mean, it was when I got to third grade, and I did third grade, and I had like half a year, and they skipped me all the way to fifth year because of my age. They jumped me all the way like to fifth, and then we moved over here, and that's when I started here at Thomas Edison on my sixth grade. I started 6, 7, and 8 in Thomas Edison, and then 9, 10, and 11. You know, in Pinkston, but that's when I had to, you know, drop out, you know, because of what they were doing to me. I couldn't take it anymore. It was so bad that, you know, at the very late, you know, Black American woman, we ran, how you walk in the halls?
Yeah.
So, I ran into her, and with me being small, I run right into her chest, and she went ahead and slapped me, cussed me left and right. I mean, she slapped me big time, and she cussed me like, you Mexican so-and-so, and wham, she went ahead and slapped me. And, I was already having too many problems, so what I did, I got really mad and frustrated, and I went and kicked her in her private part, and she just went ahead and fall down and started crying. So, the negros, they saw me, Black Americans, African Americans saw me, what I had done. They chased me. I didn't stop. I ran all the way till I cut the stuff, to catch the bus. And as I was running, I seen the bus coming, so I had kind of speed it up, and I got there, and as soon as I got in, they said, go. We were like, go. And that was the last day. I never went back to school. I dropped out because of that. And I figured they would probably be waiting on me, So, I had so much problems when I was going to school. I had to put up to so many things. It was hard for me, and that was one of the reasons that I didn't graduate. But I finally got my GED though.
Yeah, you did. When did you become a United citizen?
When did I become United?
United citizen.
What do you mean? I need a definition.
Was it struggle to become a citizen? Did you struggle?
Oh no, it wasn't hard at all for me, because I had my school, all the way to the 11th grade, and it's actually all about history. It's all they ask you questions like, who was the president that gave, the African Americans their liberty, which who he was already, Abraham Lincoln, and stuff like that. Questions like, how many stars are in the flag, what do they represent, how many stripes are they, what do the stripes represent, and stuff like
the
that.
basic.
Yeah, and see, it was a good thing, I did that when I was still young, right after I got married, in order for me to get, Juan's papers, it would make it easier for me to become a citizen. So that's what I had to do. I had to become a citizen, and I got her papers within less than 6 months. I think it took me probably like 3 months. It was right away, real quick, and that's how I became a citizen. And I believe that being a citizen of the United States, you got more benefits, than just being here legally.
Yeah.
Being here legally, even like when you retire and draw your Social Security, you got better benefits as well. So, so that was good. That was good that I did. Become a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. Do you think this is important for us now, like the Chicano movement? Do you think this is important?
Yeah, I believe that it was. They suffer a lot. Through history, they went through a lot. Their kids, probably had to go through it as well. And something had to be done. And it was only because of their kids, after seeing their parents suffer, they decided to do something about it. Like, what do you call that? When they protest, being out there protesting and stuff like that about the things they wanted. I was looking, I did my own little research about it. There was this Spanish woman that she wanted to be a cheerleader, but they wouldn't let her be, because she was Hispanic. Out of the cheerleader squad, I don't know how many there are, 6 or 7. They would only allow one Hispanic. That wasn't fair. So what they did, they started, doing protesting and stuff like that. Which, I think it kind of motivated them to do stuff like this, so that we could better ourselves. But I think till this day, I think there's still a lot of discrimination out there till this day. But I guess it's something that we just kind of have to put up with until something is done.
At what age did you start to work?
I started to work when I was really young. It must have been like 17, because I got married young. Juan was only 16, and I was 17. So I got started working, and it was hard for me. It was hard for me, but I knew that if I wanted to be with her, you know, I was gonna have to help her and support her, you know. And the reason that I had to work, you know, it was because, you know, she had a baby on the way. You know, she was pregnant from Lisa. That was her first baby, and you know, but it turned out to be for the best. You know, everything worked fine. You know, I realized that for you to better yourself, you will have to stay in school, you know, and get your GED at least your GED to improve yourself and become and do something better of you. But there's really now these days, I don't think that a GED is going to help you very much. I believe that you probably have to go through college or university, you know, get some kind of degree, you know, to be somebody and to make money, you know, to support your loved ones, you know, stuff that your parents couldn't give you, you know, because they couldn't afford it. Well, you could do that for your loved ones when, you know, if you decided to keep studying. And that's why I encouraged, you know, Lisa to get her, you know, what you call it, her doctors, what you call it, register nurse, you know. And but she tells me, like, it's kind of hard. I got to study a lot, and it takes some time and money. And oh well, you know. But anyway, I had to do that, you know, to support my wife at the early age. So.
Well, that was good because like you started young.
Yeah, she was young as well, and I was young. So.
Have you ever been discriminated?
Many a times, many a times, especially where I work with the city of Dallas. You know, there's a lot of what you call buddies. You know, scratch my back and I scratch yours. You know, you do me right. You know, next time you know, you're a supervisor. Then you move up to a manager. You know, and I've been 19 years with the city. I'm getting ready to retire, and now I never got a good promotion. You know, because, like I said, you know, because there's other people that they know, other people, you know, like they might be relatives, like his nephew or his cousin or, you know, stuff like that. And there's a lot of favoritism too, you know, so not only that, but discrimination as well. I was trying to get a job as an inspector, you know, but they told me, said, man, they're not going to hire you, man. There's nothing but white people over there, inspectors, that's all they are. You'll never get it. And sure enough, I kept applying and never got it. I took the test, I took interviews, and, you know, they wouldn't give me the chance. They wouldn't give me the opportunity. And I felt like I was discriminated, but I've never did anything about it, you know, because of what my beliefs. You know, I prayed to the Lord and would put everything on His hands. You know, Lord, you deal with it. You do whatever it is that you need to do. If you don't think that this is for me, I said, that's fine and dandy. You know what's best for me. You know, so I had to live with it, you know, praying, you know. But, yeah, I do believe that till this day, you know, there's still, you know, a lot of discrimination. And we're a small minority besides black people. But, you know, according to my study that I did, my search, you know, that Hispanics and Mexican Americans, you know, we're building America. I mean, all over, we're building America. I mean, you could do like doing streets, building, and everything. You know, I'm going like, wow. So we're taking over.
Yes. It's what mostly we think, but like others think that they're not. Like we're not worth it.
Yeah,
but we are.
We are. Yeah, they couldn't build America without us. You know, because who's going to do the jobs that they don't want to do? You know, they got us doing it. You know, and for a lot cheaper. You know, than what we're supposed to be making.
Yes.
You know, but it's getting done. You know, so me myself, you know, I've always, you know, felt proud. You know, of my, you know, what do you call it? Nationality, if that's what you want to call it, or you know, being a Mexican American, and I've always been proud of it. You know, I feel proud.
Like mostly Mexican Americans feel proud of themselves because like they have come to a better being of them.
Yeah.
So, like me, I feel proud of myself.
Yeah, we have to. You know, you have to give your pat yourself in the back. You know, anything that you do and that you prosper. you always give a pat in the back,
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have somebody to do it for you, like your mom and dad to hug you and let you know.
Did you ever decide to do something illegal?
Yeah, many a times. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. There's many times because of the struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Having work and not making enough money. Sometimes because you're not a good steward, you misspend it, and sometimes, because you want to have more so that you could give, stuff to your kids like you didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was many times that I felt like, just dealing drugs, stealing drugs, or even not as much as like marijuana or cocaine, but I haven't felt at times that I wanted to steal like beer from the house.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do that. A lot of people around here, what you call bootlegging. They would come up and buy you a 12-pack or a case in the middle of the night, 12 or 1 o'clock, after all the places were closed, and that would make some money. They would making money, but I would stop and think, and I would go like, well, is this thing really worth it? What if somebody breaks in trying to steal that money and hurts my loved ones, my wife or my kids, So I don't think it's worth it. So, I wouldn't do it, I would think about it hard, But there was other times that I even felt, like robbing, guys like they do, sometimes, they go up there and just pull a gun to somebody and take his wallet and money just so that you can have extra money to spend. But, I never did such thing, because, there's an old saying that if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. So, I didn't want to do the time, so I wasn't about to do the crime, so I would leave it alone.
Were you ever in a protest?
Impulsive?
In a protest.
Oh, yeah, in the protest? No. I don't remember ever protesting anything at all, to be honest with you. I've seen them in the news when they're out there.
Yeah.
They get those big old riots and stuff like that. Sometimes it gets out of hand. I don't think I want to be involved in a protest. Somebody could get hurt.
Yeah. Do you think all this going through, was it worth it?
Everything that I went through? Or do you mean the Chicanos?
No, for you.
For me? Yeah, I believe it. Everything that I've done and that I've gone through, it's worth it. My kids, they love me for who I am. They looked up to me. I'm not perfect. I try to be a righteous life, try to live a righteous life, and I try to help them when I can. I love them with all my heart, and then I let them know. I don't do it like every week, but once a month I approach them and hug them, tell them, hey, I love you. If you ever need anything or you need to talk, I'm here. I'm here if anything that I can help you. There might not be some things that I don't approve, because I want what's best for them. Like Gloria, she approached me last week, wanted to know if I could, meet her boyfriend. I said, no, I don't want anything to do. I said, because I want you to focus on your study. I said, I don't want to give you permission. I don't want you to be out there hanging around with nobody and having a boyfriend. I said, because it's not right at your age, he's going to throw you off. And everything that I do, I do it because I love you. And sometimes boyfriends, they say that they love you, and the first thing that they want to do is they want you to prove them that, give me the proof of love. And if he says, can you do that, that means that he actually don't love you. He don't care, because if he did love you, he cared. He would respect you and wait till you get married, But, I tried, it breaks my heart because she's like really small. She is really small, and I worry a lot about her. And I told her, I said, you need to seek for a man of God, somebody that loves God, somebody that's not going to be cheating on you, somebody that's not going to be drinking, somebody that's not going to be doing drugs, somebody that's not going to betray you and end up slapping you and hitting you because you're so small. You are so small. But if you find somebody that loves and fears the Lord, he will respect you, because he fears the law above all. So, I've been praying on this, that if the Lord's will, for this person that he's dating, anything happens, well, let it be the Lord's will, not mine. But I'm praying on that, to separate him, the Lord. Lord, if it's not the man that you have for my daughter, just, move him along. I don't wish him no harm or anything. I wouldn't do anything to him, but, I just, want him to move along, seek another woman somewhere else, because, he's not a Christian, he believes in God, but there's people that do believe in God, but they're still up there, according to their religion, they want to keep up there doing the things, that they are familiar with, like drinking, and doing drugs, and not only that, but they can also cheat, since I became a Christian, she's been almost 16 years or better. I never cheated on Juana. I always treated right. I didn't took her out like I was supposed to because I was doing the work of the Lord. Going to hospitals. Going visiting our church members that weren't there. Praying over them and stuff like that. And that's why she actually left me. Because she thought that I was being a a Christ fanatic. She called me a Christ fanatic, and she told me, said it's either the church or me, So I told her, I said, don't put me on that spot, because you're gonna lose. I said, I can't turn the back on the Lord. So he was the one that rescued me. He was the one that saved me from all the drugs. I was doing drug, mija. I was doing cocaine. I was doing, a lot of liquor. Me spending my money in the beer joints. Going to those nightclubs. I was throwing my money away, but and I felt like, I couldn't turn my back on the Lord. I couldn't do that. So, she said, okay. I said, if you want to do that, I said, one of these days, I said, I'll probably leave. I said, okay. I said, I can't stop you. If you want to do that, just go ahead. I can't stop you. But, I try to do it right, I felt times that as a Christian, she would come back and ask me to forgive her, which I've already have. I would, but she wanted to come back with something that we had to talk and work together. Not only just between me and her, but between our pastors and other witnesses. Like her sister, Licha, and your abuela Silvia. To have some witnesses there, because that's what the scripture says.
Yeah.
To have some witnesses there, so when you renew your vows, try to get back, to make sure that there's nothing, that that's gonna hold you back and say, not forget about it, because you gotta renew your vows with your marriage, and with God as well, but it's up to her, It's up to her. I tried, like I said, I do believe, that I try to help her mind as much as I could. I even help her out to this point. Right now, I help her out when she needs money. I help her out. I even tell her, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay me. And it's not much. It's probably, $40, $60 and stuff like that. But, I just tell her, when she tries to pay me, I just go ahead and keep it. And I say, that's fine. I said, I'm not hurting that much.
You did a lot for everyone.
Yeah, I love them. I love Lisa. She's here with me, and I can help her out as much as I can. And I don't, but at the same time, I don't want to be a burden to nobody. I'm growing old, I'm getting old, and I know that I need to find somebody, somebody, it's either going to be, going back to your tia Juana or pray for the Lord, which I've been praying, for somebody else, But I just don't want anybody, that's going to try to bring me back into the world, like drink, they like to go to the dance, or be telling me like, you're boring, you just want to stay here, you just want to be going to church. See, that would never work. I would have to have somebody, with my own beliefs, that you could support me, and stand behind me and walk beside me. But, that's all in the Lord's hand. if it is His will, for me to get remarried again, fine. And if it's not His will, then I'm just gonna have to be alone. It hadn't been easy. It's been, like I said, probably like 16 years, 17 years, but that's okay, She did what she had to do, Well, I think that it hadn't even that long. It's been like 12 years because Gloria, she was only 5 or 6 when she left. And, boy, I was going crazy. I was going crazy. I wanted to commit suicide. Because she was crying. She wanted her mom. I didn't know what to do. I was going crazy. And I was praying over her, not praying and praying. I was hoping for the Lord to help me, But, sometimes if she wouldn't stop crying, she would go like, I want to go with Mami Licha. So I would have to call Licha, see if she would take her, and she would, She would stay there for a day, and then she would come back, and then back again, crying, and I suffer a lot. Until she started, she adopted to it, she got used to it or adopted or whatever you want to call it. That she wasn't coming back, but she could still see her whenever she wanted. And she comes to the house. I had no problem. What she does sometimes, I just leave so that she could feel more comfortable, or I stay in my room, And I tell her, this is still your house, and you left because you wanted to. I never, asked you to leave, or I never kicked you out of the house or anything. You left on your own free will, So, yeah, and ever since, it's been really hard on me. Sometimes I pray to the Lord. I said, Lord, I don't want to be alone no more. I said, I just want to go home. When I call going home, I mean like, going to the Lord, and just, ya que me muera, ¿me entiendes? Yeah. Because I know I'm going to a better place, Jeannie. I know I'm going to a better place where there's no suffering, where there's no suffering. So,